Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Very early morning today. Out of the blue, Apple dropping new MacBook Air, another new MacBook Pro. We have other huge MacBook news. The MacBook has been discontinued, and again, AirPods 3 rumored release later this year with a higher price tag. Shocker there. So lots of good stuff dropping today. If you guys are excited for it, drop a like down below. Always helps me out, and hit subscribe so you stay up to date on the latest Apple news. Let's go ahead and get started. So starting off with the most significant news here, MacBook Air and MacBook Pro updates are out. I was actually just talking about this yesterday about how it was possibly going to happen later this month or maybe a little bit farther down the road, but the updates are out now today. You can head over to apple.com and get the latest MacBook Air or the MacBook Pro for yourself. Now, what's new? Significant on the MacBook Air is a lower price tag. You can now get the MacBook Air starting at $1,100. I believe it was $1,200 before. So $1,100 is a pretty good deal. And if you're a student, because Apple just recently launched today their back to school promotion, not only do you get a free pair of Beats, which is like, okay, whatever, like it costs Apple 3 cents to produce, it's not that good of a deal. You get $100 off of either of these MacBook models. So that means if you want to buy the new MacBook Air, you can actually buy it for $1,000, which is an incredible deal. And I definitely from now on out will be referring most people to the MacBook Air. I think $1,000 is an insanely good price for what you're getting, considering that it was just updated with the True Tone display. That's where the display basically shifts its color temperature to match the ambient light in the room. If you're in an environment like fluorescent lights, it's going to appear a little bit bluer. If you're maybe somewhere a little bit warmer, it's going to appear a little bit oranger or redder. It's a very subtle change. You barely notice it, but it's a pretty nice like quality of life upgrade that's just there and that works. So taking a look at the specs for the base MacBook Air now, you do get that same 13.3-inch True Tone display. You get the 8th generation Intel Core i5, 1.6 gigahertz, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes SSD, super fast storage. The graphics card is pretty weak. It's the UHD graphics 617, nothing special there. But again, this is a base model. This is the cheapest MacBook you can buy now because the MacBook got discontinued, which is, I think, a really, really good thing. That laptop was extremely outdated. It really served no purpose in Apple's lineup. So the MacBook, I don't even know how to differentiate, so I just call it the MacBook, and I can't make fun of it anymore. Because it's gone, they axed it from the lineup, and if you're thinking about like buying a used one now that it'll be cheaper or something or discontinued, I wouldn't recommend it. I genuinely don't think the MacBook was in a good place, and I'm happy that Apple removed it so that you and me get a better value when we go to apple.com and search for a laptop. And of course, on the MacBook Air, you also get Touch ID, which is a feature also standard on the MacBook Pro, and it's nothing new on the MacBook Air, but I still like to note that, for the cheapest MacBook, you're now getting super secure fingerprint recognition. Head over to the MacBook Pro, arguably some more significant changes here because Apple has removed the non-touch bar model. For the longest time, it was like MacBook Pro with touch bar and MacBook Pro without touch bar, and it was just really a strange vibe, to be honest. Like, it was weird that you had to differentiate with the super long name, one that didn't have the touch bar, one that had standard function row keys. That is all standardized now. Every single MacBook Pro you can buy now has a touch bar. Now, the touch bar is a story for another day. I don't like it. I don't think there's any functional advantage. In fact, I would not mind if Apple had made the non-touch bar model standard. Like, I genuinely don't like the touch bar. I don't want it or need it. So I was hoping that Apple would actually return to a physical row of keys, but they haven't, and they've pretty much finally gone all in on the touch bar after almost 3 years of announcing it. So now, as I couldn't recommend the 13-inch MacBook Pro before to most people, I can recommend this one now. And again, while there's no price drop on the MacBook Pro, I think the value added here is really good. So again, like, I could recommend the base 13-inch MacBook Pro because there's some decent specs here. Starting off with, again, the screen, 13 inches, True Tone display. You do get a 1.4 quad-core 8th generation Intel Core i5 processor. You do get the Intel Iris Plus graphics, 645, again, nothing crazy. Now, if you've been paying attention to the specs, guys, you'll notice that the actual clock rate, 1.4 gigahertz, is lower than the 1.6 gigahertz clock rate on the exact same Intel Core i5 processor. However, the big difference is while the MacBook Air is a dual core, the MacBook Pro 13-inch model now has quad core standard. So if you want that extra computing power, it may be worth the extra $200 to upgrade. And again, students get it for $100 off, so you can get the new MacBook Pro instead of for $1,300 for $1,200, and that's a really good deal. I can genuinely say that that's a pretty good deal for the specs you're getting for a quad-core MacBook Pro with Touch Bar and now all the latest features. Today's updates to the MacBook line make me really happy because I think they give you a much better deal, where if you would have bought a MacBook yesterday, it just wasn't good. Like, I feel like you wouldn't leave feeling really good about the purchase. Now, these are pretty good deals. The fact that the MacBook Air got a generalized price drop is amazing for you and me. That is very rare to get better specs with a price drop from a company like Apple. So whether you're looking at MacBook Air, 13-inch or 15-inch MacBook Pro, I would say it's a pretty good time to buy. But keep in mind, if you are looking in the MacBook Pro territory, strong rumors indicate that a 16-inch redesigned model is coming closer to the end of the year. So just keep that in mind, but it's going to be the most expensive MacBook. It's not going to be like a bargain by any means. So these lower end models are great if you're just looking for a good entry level MacBook. And the good news just keeps on coming, guys. So after the new MacBooks came out, some people did some digging, and according to 9to5Mac, the SSD pricing, so the solid state storage pricing, has decreased significantly at the higher levels. Now, unfortunately, the base storage is still pretty low when you buy like the cheapest MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, but while the 4TB SSD used to cost $2,800, it now only costs $1,400. Now, $1,400 is still a lot, but for the price to go down that significantly, that is substantial and absolutely worth noting. Again, this is something people were calling on Apple for years. They said this is too much money. We're just not going to buy it. $2,800 for just storage is out of this world. Also, if you want to buy a 1TB MacBook Air, there's now a storage option for that. So that's available too. It just feels like a breath of fresh air, you know? It feels good. I feel like excited about the MacBook. I feel like I don't have to hesitate when somebody asks me, what MacBook should I buy? I can be like, well, don't buy this one. And also the MacBook Air has been updated in a year. So maybe like look at this one. You'll end up spending $1,500. Like, you can get a pretty good deal on a MacBook Pro now, or a MacBook Air for that matter. So if you've been waiting, now is the time to buy. Now, just around the same time that this news broke that Apple released new MacBooks, some other significant news came out as well. Real quick, for the 2019 iPhones, if you had any at all hope left that they were going to have 3D Touch, they are not. So according to Digitimes out today saying, no, Apple is removing 3D Touch from all the 2019 iPhone models. I know how sad that is. I've been telling and giving you guys my opinion for a year and a half now, saying I do not think this is a good idea. I feel like removing a feature year over year is not great, considering that 3D Touch was just a flagship feature on the iPhone 6s. But if you're looking at any of the three new iPhone models for 2019, iPhone 11, iPhone 11 Max, or iPhone 10R Mark II, or iPhone 11R, not going to have 3D Touch, which is significantly frustrating because, you know, it's going to be the same price iPhone likely, and you're going to just lose a feature year over year. Now, Apple's sort of like making that okay due to new haptic touch features in iOS 13, but it's still not the same thing, and it's just genuinely disappointing that Apple's killing off a feature that once was the flagship feature for an iPhone. I don't really recall a time in history when we've seen that. But to round out today's turn of events, we do have some really genuinely good news if you are a #1 AirPods fan like myself. So back in March, they got updated, but it was a minor update. You guys remember the rumors? They were supposed to come in black, have a new finish, have some design tweaks, maybe new health monitoring features, also going to have maybe better waterproofing, improved bass response. Like, we were looking at a gigantic update in addition to the hands-free series support that we got and wireless charging. Turns out that the small update was initially planned for late 2018. Apple, for some reason, did not release it in late 2018, so they pushed it out, and randomly in March was like, hey, here are new AirPods, which was great. Like, it sort of put a little band-aid on our wound from them not being updated for almost 3 years. So we got new AirPods in March, but another version is already in the works, and according to Wedbush, a somewhat reputable analyst group, new AirPods 3/AirPods Pro, will be launching at the end or near the end of 2019. Now, normally I would tell you guys to be extremely cautious with a random analyst report like this that we don't hear from that often, but OnLeaks has actually heard from a source. OnLeaks has an insanely good track record, has rarely, if ever, been wrong about calling Apple leaks and rumors, said that in the fall, first of all, predicted that they would be coming out in spring, a small AirPods minor update with wireless charging, and the big update, new color options with some of these other features, would be coming in fall of 2019. So we have this to look forward to now. Two sources saying that AirPods are on the way. Looks like everybody else that was reporting on these features just got the two models mixed up. Keep in mind though, if you do end up waiting, the price tag is likely going to increase again. Wedbush suggests that Apple will probably increase the price for, I guess, a second time in a row. So we got a price increase with the wireless charging case on AirPods, brought the price from $159 to $199. I could see if these are coined AirPods Pro, if they do come in black, which we've heard, and we've heard Bloomberg say, the term AirPods Pro, it's very realistic at this point that they will be marketed as such, meaning they will feature a Pro price tag. And one last tidbit that I do not want to leave you guys without. I know in my video yesterday, I brought up the new 10.2-inch iPad that I still strongly believed would be coming in 2019. It turns out it definitely will be, because a new report shows that Apple is beginning production on the 10.2-inch, lowest budget iPad in July. So that probably means a release date in September or October, which again, perfectly lines up with the two events that Apple may be holding. Definitely one in September, maybe one in October or November. So if you're looking at a budget iPad, probably a good time to hold off. No leaks of how it's going to look just yet, but will likely be redesigned if it includes that larger 10.2-inch screen. So let me know your guys' thoughts about all the news today down below in the comment section. Are you going to be buying a new MacBook Air or MacBook Pro? Are you a student going back to school? Looking forward to the new 2019 iPhones or AirPods 3? Good stuff coming all the way around. Again, props to Apple for recognizing the issues present in the MacBook line and correcting them, especially by killing off the MacBook. That's all for you in this video. I don't know why I stuttered there like there was something else. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like down below. Hit subscribe for more. I hope you guys are doing great. Peace out, and I'll catch all of you in my next video.